This is Dave of Dave Trains, and I guess this is episode 14A. As you can tell, I've got a little bit of a cold here, a little bit under the weather. This is just a real quick update on the switch problem I had after I ballasted my track. And the first thing I'd like to say is I appreciate all the comments that I did get on the different problems and encouragement on trying to get this repaired. Unfortunately, it's not repairable. I'll show this on the bench in a minute. I did an earlier video of kind of in-depth of taking this apart, but for some reason the file was corrupted, so it's going to be a little bit more abbreviated. So I'm definitely going to have to get a new switch. It's disconcerting that this happened. I'm not really sure why it happened. It wasn't nothing electrical, but I'll show you the parts. But basically there's a small copper wire that provides tension to make the switch work when you energize that little electromagnet in the switch itself. So for whatever reason it's lost its tension. I did get some solution that did get into it, but not enough. I've been in the plating business for a long time, and I recognize corrosion, and I did have some rust on one of the little screws on the back, which I was kind of surprised. I figured Kato would put stainless steel screws, but these are nickel-plated steel. But anyway, the little copper wire really didn't look like it had been attacked, but it, for some reason, had lost all its tension. And I'm sure it's something that when I was trying to get it to work, it's something I did. Maybe it's slightly bent. I'm really not sure. The other switch I was having problems with, this number 2 switch right here, is actually doing fine. So, and all the others are. So I'm assuming they're going to be okay. So, I'll have to go to my hobby shop and see if he's got one, and if not, order it. Well, anyway, let me turn this camera around down to the little workbench here, and I'll show you what's going on. So I've already taken this apart and actually filmed some of it, and for some reason it just did not work out right. So I'm going to do this again, but the switch doesn't work, and I thought maybe, since I had seen some green corrosion, which means some of the copper components inside have corroded away, or just a little bit of corrosion, not really corroded away, might have some effect on it, but I'm not quite so sure about that. And I'm not really sure what caused this switch to fail. Some solution did get inside, because when I removed the cover, there was some dry glue, but it's not what I would consider, a deal breaker that it would destroy the switch. But hopefully, I don't know if you can be able to see it, because it's pretty tiny. Let me turn this light on and see if this helps any, which looks like it doesn't. So anyway, so if you can see, there's a little copper wire that fits in this yoke that's going to make this switch go back and forth. And I'd hope that this wire had just come out of this little yoke right here, but that wasn't the case. And this part right here actually comes out, and I'll take it out again, and it's just basically hooked in to this little pivot point, and it's just basically a little electromagnet that forces it to go this way or back. And the copper wire is just a straight piece of wire, and let's see if you can see this. Fits through this little tiny bracket right here. But even by doing that, there's no more tension for some reason on this wire, because it's the movement to move the switch is very little. I mean, it's just a couple. It looks big there, but back here it's just maybe a mil or so, if that much. And you can see how easy that pops out of there. But I don't know if somehow or another this wire does not look bent, but for whatever reason it just doesn't have the tension in it that it used to make this switch work. And you can remove this cover right here, and I can't tell if the wire is somehow mated to this point right here where you can't pull it out. I'm just not sure. But the bottom line is that this switch does not work anymore. The electronics works fine, but the switch itself no longer works. So I could pull this wire out of the way and manually make the switch work. But the problem is that if it's going straight, it does fine, but when I switch it to make it go to the turnout, invariably as cars run over it, it changes a little and starts derailment. So you know, there's just no pressure to hold it against there. So, and because there's no tension in that wire, the manual control won't work either. So basically it looks like I'm buying a new switch. These things have kind of jumped up in price too. I think I even have some old Atlas switches, but they won't fit. This does make me wonder if I was to put in a yard, if it would not be better to go to Atlas switches, something that's not as complicated, just manual throws. And you know, they're not very expensive either. So right now that's where I'm at. Definitely going to have to go to my hobby shop and see if he has one or can order me one. Just have to go from there. I always try to support the hobby shop that I go to, and I kind of think everybody should try to do that if they can. But anyway, as always, I appreciate you watching. I hope you follow along. If you want to follow along on this little N-Scale journey, then please hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell for you get notifications of future videos. And as always, hope you have a great week, and thank you for watching, and bye-bye.